Okay, so we're going to work on the short answer part for the assessment first. And what I'm going to do is use my colored pens to help us figure out what it is we need to know and do on this section. Now, if you take a look, you'll see that there are 2 questions with adding polynomials, 2 questions with subtracting polynomials, and 2 questions with multiplying polynomials before we hit the extended response. All of these can be done without much work, but you can still write some stuff down to make sure that you understand what's going on. So for number 1, the first thing that you need to know is that you need to add. So for adding polynomials, and I'll do this over here on this side, for adding, you simply combine like terms. And then, of course, you have to express your answer in standard form from highest to lowest exponent. So basically, we're just starting with the highest exponent and adding up our like terms. So in our first polynomial, our highest exponent is x to the third. In our second polynomial, our highest exponent is x to the third. So I'm going to group them. And I'm going to add them together. So positive 7x to the third and negative 7x to the third cancel, because a positive and negative are the same thing, cancel out. So that part's done. Then we're going to take a look at x squared because we're going right down the line. So I've got a positive 6x squared and I've got a positive 6x squared and I'm adding them. So that's going to give me 12x squared. Then I'm looking for our x terms, and our x terms are a positive 4x and a positive 4x, and that's going to add to give me a positive 8x. And then lastly, we're going to do our constants, and our constants are 1s and 5s. So we got a 1 plus 5, that's going to give me a plus 6. So this is the answer to your polynomial for number 1 for the review. And basically, all we did was start with the highest exponent and combine like terms. We're going to do the same thing for number 2, except we're going to move a little bit faster now that we have our feet wet. Our highest exponent is x squared in both terms. So I'm going to take 3 and add negative 2. 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1. Next is our x terms, and that is a positive 2x and a positive 5x, and I add them and get positive 7x. And then lastly, I've got a negative 2 plus positive 5, and negative 2 plus 5 is a positive 3. And that's the answer to our second question. Again, all you have to do for adding is combine like terms, and then make sure that it's in order from highest to lowest exponent. Now we're going to transition to 3 and 4, and subtracting is a little differently, so you need to make sure that you're focused on the fact that there is a subtraction sign between them. And what you're going to do for subtraction is you're going to rewrite the first polynomial you're going to change the minus to a plus. And then you're going to change all of the signs in the second polynomial. Okay, so rewrite the first polynomial, change your minus to a plus sign, and then change all the signs in the second polynomial. So let's take a look at how number 3 is going to look. So for number 3, I'm rewriting my first one. So negative 4x squared plus 2x. Rewrite that. I'm going to change my minus to a plus sign. So I'm going to put a plus sign here. And then I'm going to change all the signs for here. So this is a positive 3. So this is now going to be a negative 3x to the third. This is a negative 5, so it's going to be a positive 5x squared. And this is a positive 3, so I'm going to make that a negative 3x. So what I did was I kept the first one, changed the sign of minus to plus, and then I changed all the signs thereafter. Once I do that, I'm just adding. So I go back up to here and I combine my like terms. Starting with my highest exponent first. My highest exponent is an x to the third. And I only have one of them. So over here, negative 3x to the third. Then I'm looking for my x squared terms. And I've got negative 4x squared and a positive 5x squared. And I'm now adding these. And that's going to give me 1x squared. That's positive. Then I'm looking for my x terms. And I've got positive 2x and a negative 3x. And when I add those, I get negative 1x. So all my terms are accounted for. Everything's in standard form from highest to lowest exponent. And I did it by using the subtraction rule. Okay, so this is the final answer for my polynomial for number 3. Now we're going to take a look at number 4. I'm going to do number 4 a little quicker because we got our feet wet and we already looked at one. So for number 4, I'm going to keep the first one, 9x to the 5th plus x to the third minus 2x. All I did was recopy that. I'm going to change that guy to a plus sign, and I'm going to change all the signs. So that's going to be a positive 2x to the 5th, a negative 5x to the third, and a negative 6. Once I get here, now I can combine my like terms by starting with my highest exponent first. My highest exponent here is an x to the 5th, so I'm actually going to start with that. So I have 9x to the 5th, and I'm going to add 2x to the 5th. That's going to give me 11x to the 5th. The next one is x to the 4th, but there aren't any, so I skip that one. I go to x to the 3rd. Now this is something we want to look at. I've got an x to the 3rd, and I've got a negative 5x to the 3rd. Now this x to the 3rd has a 1 in front of it. This is a positive 1. So this is a 1 plus negative 5. That's going to give me a negative 4x to the 3rd. Okay. And then, of course, the next term is x squared, and we don't have any of those. We do have an x term. This is minus 2x. And he doesn't have a friend over here. There's nothing to combine it with. And then, of course, we have a minus 6. And that one doesn't have a friend either, to like a constant to add to over here. So we put that last. So our final answer for this question is 11x to the 5th minus 4x to the 3rd minus 2x minus 6. So that pretty much takes care of the combining like terms, adding and subtracting. So again, you're going to subtract by rewrite the first polynomial, change that minus sign to a plus sign, change all the signs after, and then in our very last step, and we can write that step down just so that you're clear, is you're going to add. Okay, so that means that you follow the adding steps from up above. Using color is super helpful, I think, but also using different shapes. So if you do boxes and circles and triangles and underline once and underline twice, you should have enough symbolism to distinguish between who is who. All right, so we have number 5 now, and in number 5, it's a multiply question. So when they ask us to multiply, this is a distributive property. So we are going to distribute. Now, here's the thing you need to know about multiplying, and I'll write it over here on the side. This is for multiplying. When you multiply, you are going to multiply the big numbers. They're called coefficients. But you're going to add the exponents for like bases or like variables. Okay, so multiply the large numbers and add the exponents for like variables. So when I go to distribute this one, I'm going to do 4 times 3 is 12. And then I have x and x to the third. That's going to give me x to the fourth because I have 1 here and 3 of them here. Then I move on to the next guy. This is 4 times 5 is 20. And then I have an x, that's 1 of them, and x squared is 2 of them, so that gives me x to the third. Then I'm going to go to this one, so I'm going to do 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And this time I have an x here and an x here. That's going to give me x squared because I'm adding these exponents up. And then this last one is 4 times negative 11. That's negative 44. And I only have one x there at all. And this is your answer to the question. You don't do anything else with it. All you did was multiply the big numbers and add up all the exponents for your variable. Now we're going to take a look at number 6, which is the last one in this section. And when we look at number 6, we are looking at doing the same multiplication here. So we're going to do negative 6x squared times x to the third. So there isn't any other big number, so we're just going to keep that negative 6, but this is x squared and x to the third, so there's 2 plus 3. That's going to give me x to the fifth. Okay, and then in your next one, you're going to do negative 6 times negative 5. That's a positive 30. And then you have 2 and 2. That's going to give me x to the fourth. Then I got to do negative 6 times 4, which is negative 24. And there's 2 here and 1 x here. So that's 2 and 1. That's going to give me x to the third altogether. And then our last one is negative 6 times negative 3, which is positive 18. And the only x's that we have are just the x squared. So notice this is in order from highest to lowest exponent. And all I did was multiply the numbers, make sure your signs are correct. And I added the exponents. 2 of them and 1 of them make 3 of them. Okay, things like that. So this takes care of the first part of your exam. This is the short answer. So it was 6 questions so far. We're only on 12 minutes. So half the test is over and you're only 12 minutes in. So good luck on this first part and contact me if you have questions on the review.